Over the last year and a half, I tried at least 6 amps to find something to add to my collection. Some of those were great, some of those came close, but none of them stuck around. I decided to play it safe this time and try an amp I wanted to try for years, but always passed on because I associate it with this. And don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with that. I love Slash and I love Guns N' Roses, but I usually don't rock that hard anymore. But I overlook the fact that this amp also does stuff that's more in my current wheelhouse, stuff like this. The fact that I can do both with this amp is actually really cool. Not that I cannot do that stuff with the big Marshall over there, but despite the similarities, I think the Studio Jubilee is its own thing. When I first tried one a few months ago while I was helping a friend amp shopping, I really liked it, even though he was initially one that bought one of these. While the amp does that Marshall thing that I love, it brings some different stuff to the table that I want to test and showcase in this video. And for that I want to start on the clean channel to see how that sounds and to test how well it takes pedals. I think the clean sound is really nice. It's not a Fender clean but a Marshall clean, so it has a bit of hair on it. And I've heard people say that this amp doesn't take pedals very well, but I would disagree. It's not the best pedal platform like every Dr. Z amp I've ever tried, but I really have no complaints here. Now I will grab my Telecaster and switch to the crunch channel. With the Telecaster I usually use an overdrive to fatten up the sound through my Plexi a bit while also boosting the signal. I will try that first and then I will play something without an overdrive but using the lead channel of this amp. me, both work well, but I was actually impressed by the lead channel. While I was using it with humbuckers, I wasn't that impressed because it was a bit too fat, compressed and distorted, but with a brighter and lower output guitar like the Telecaster, I think it works really well. One of the things that also stood out to me when we tried the amp in the store was how well it sounded on low volume. So I want to compare how the amp sounds with the output master set low to bedroom volume, as opposed to a louder recording volume with the output master set high, but a bit of attenuation of my Tone King Iron Man. I'm really impressed here. The attenuated signal sounds a bit fuller, but with the master this low, I think the amp still sounds really good. I could gig with this amp without needing an attenuator, which is a big plus to me. The amp never sounded fizzy or fuzzy while playing in the room, it was just more quiet, and except for the output master, all settings were exactly the same in both comparisons. The only thing I would secretly like to know now is how it compares to my big Marshall. This is usually the point where I don't like the other amp I'm trying. I didn't play them back to back, switching between them and adjusting the EQ to get them to sound close. I just played a riff on the Jubilee and did the same on the Plexi, but I am really shocked how close they are. There is a difference in the mid-range. The Jubilee sounds a bit smoother and a bit more modern, but at a gig I doubt whether the difference would bother me. And on paper the Studio Vintage would make a lot more sense for me, but from a practical standpoint, the Jubilee is a better amp for me. Even though I think the Studio Vintage is great, I think the 1987X sounds better and they both need an attenuator. So the only upside to the Studio Vintage is the fact that it's smaller and lighter. The Studio Jubilee on the other hand doesn't need an attenuator, it can cover a wider range of sounds, and it actually adds something to my collection that way. While not as exciting of a choice as some of the other heads I tried, the Studio Jubilee actually makes sense to me. And here in Europe they're actually pretty affordable and a lot cheaper than some of the other heads I tried. Even though I have to get used to the look, which isn't really my thing, I think it's a great amp. After the last year and a half and with me, you can never tell for sure, but at this point I think this amp can stay for a while. Let me know what you think in the comments down below, and while you're down there, please like, subscribe, hit the bell icon, and I'll see you next time.